Hello, lecturers and legalists. My name is Stevie Skine. Welcome back to Ace Attorney Chronicles, where you join us at a dramatic moment where the courtroom has just been filled with smoke after Magnus McGill, our defendant, apparently pointed out that someone who might know something about the murder could be in the audience. My. 18th February, 12:52 p.m., the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. What on earth just happened in there?
Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened.
Mr. Sato!
I was told it was an advanced form of a smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke.
A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use.
But they're just making sure everyone's safe now. I think the trial will start again before long.
But who would have done something like that?
The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently.
Flee the courtroom? Why?
Well, it's a young girl of about 15, I hear.
A young girl? Then, could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilda was just talking about?
My thoughts exactly.
So, he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilda, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here.
I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Along with a young girl.
Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself?
There's another matter that's troubling me.
What's that?
The 20 pence.
Huh? Oh,
According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly.
But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers.
Which means the figures don't seem to add up again.
Well, she's right. That is strange.
Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away.
Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial.
We'll know soon enough, Mr. Sato.
Yes.
'18th February, 1 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, I like her character design already. There's a young girl next to Mr. McGilda, look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before.
Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilda. Now then, Lord Essex. My lord, I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which failed proceedings earlier.
It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army.
Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name?
It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloakily escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Oh, your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
If I may, my lord.
Yes, Mr. McGilda?
I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this view glass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. 'Tis all tied up with the event of that night, so it is.
Very well, Mr. McGilda, give your testimony.
You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved with the case. I think I've changed his voice a little bit by accident. It's been 3 days since I recorded last. Just what did happen that night? It's not like any defense lawyer needs that information or anything.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly knocked it off. Then, Pecora, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up at the fair start.
There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather, on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding the omnibus. Is that correct?
'Tis exactly as the defence counsel said. The lass was the 5th passenger, my lord.
Very well. The defence will now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. So, let's just press everything. And when you first got on the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck neither.
You were the first passengers, well, I see.
Aye, and that's why I took the backside as I did. Just the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means, just how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis most comfortable, and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from the time to time as well.
Francisque seems quiet.
A loud thud, you say? And a scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So, you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor. Huh, you didn't see anyone. But at the same moment, you did hear a scream?
From the seats above on the roof deck, I presume.
Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. You sat him up? The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? Just common courtesy, so it is.
I find that a little hard to believe.
Lord Van Six, now why would that be?
You expect to find a man lying dead at your feet in the carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that he is.
Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business.
The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest?
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone's thankful if they help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no! I was intended to report it. I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Well, yeah, the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see to this. What do you mean by that? Well, now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, onto my backside.
Good gracious.
Under your backside?
And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember?
Yes, of course. And we already have examined that, but actually probably... You never know if something only activates... like, after a certain dialogue trigger has been messed with. That's... don't think I've examined that before. I think I forgot to do that. Blood, isn't it?
Is something wrong?
Oh, it's just... Well, the bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet, Van Seeks has made no mention of it.
I suppose that does seem a little strange.
Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Wait, was that bloodstain there before? Hold on now. Anyway. Wait a minute. I distinctly remember when we examined this thing the first time, there was other stuff in there. It wasn't empty, there was other stuff in there. And I don't think that bloodstain was there. What's going on here? This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Okay, so someone's been messing with this. Okay, someone's tampered with it. Van Seeks. What are you playing at? Let me just examine. And that's when I found her. Hold it! You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin whack with her. The seat opposite? That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. Oh. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. And presumably that scream was Mr. Forst, who was sitting on the roof deck seat, or first probably is supposed to pronounce with that. But it sounds like Mr. Forst, yeah. Right here again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with his knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature. And readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl. Well, the hat's kind of... After that, of course. With a scream for the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my Lestrade. Wait a minute, Lestrade. Now there's a name, if you're familiar with Holmes, that you'll be familiar with as well. Now. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket.
What? This girl here? A petty thief?
I mean, better than starving in the street, you know.
Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. But, how dare you? What is the meaning of this? But, the girl, she's gone.
Open your eyes.
I'm over here.
Oh, gracious, how?
What was the point in that little sidestep?
I know what you lot are thinking. Grey nips are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job.
Again, apologies. No, actually, no apologies to the English, but apologies to the English lower classes.
She got herself backed in a corner. She should knife the gents. Go on, that's what in your heads, isn't it?
No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the...
No, nice for carrots. Only thugs use weapons like that. All what I need for what I do is his fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I can pride what I do.
Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs.
Hey, this? Yeah, it's just in the bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drags.
Oh no, she stole that from Sherlock. Look at the look at the sigil on the side of it. She stole it from Herlock. Oh, is Herlock about to get himself his own little sidekick? That would be adorable.
It's nice, isn't it? It's like the pink best. I like the pink best.
Do not wave that thing in my direction again.
So, you admit that you are riding the omnibus on the night in question.
Tis all right, lass. You can tell them the truth now.
Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said.
The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened to the omnibus night in question.
Alright, if I have to. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it's a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for my troubles that night. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitched in there. Then, after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped up my skin, I did. And the scream just came out. It's because of that the swell found me. He did help me get away, mind.
Yes, he let you go.
I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, 'tis simplicity myself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact.
How? Because she was under his ass.
As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself.
I think a demonstration is called for.
This is where I was sat that night.
And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume?
I don't think she was hiding in there at all. I think something else was going on, because before there was a bunch of stuff in there that would have precluded her from fitting.
Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration.
But
So, you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question.
Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman.
My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir.
Well, it's not going to be that simple, is it?
With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
Right, but now they're going to accuse the girl of doing... Then Six is going to have something to say.
Oh, say so now. All 6 members of the jury consent. Surely they're leaning out for a verdict of not guilty.
Mr. Naruhodo, this... well, it must mean...
It must mean what?
That we're victorious.
We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
Yeah.
I thought he... Oh, God. Oh. The fucking leg. Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. I'm good. I'm good. Come on. Oh, come on. Okay. I thought he was gonna slam his fist or something, like draw his sword. But with the fucking boot and the glass. Oh my God, you're so extra. I love you. Oh, okay. I'm over it. I'm good. I'm good. I need to drink something. Oh, fucking hell. Okay. No, stop it. I'm just laughing at how much I'm laughing now. Okay. If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature?
Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring commission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here, in the police report. Good lord! The evidence has been tampered with. Right, but by whom, Von Zieks?
Okay, well, I just want to say I caught that. I did that. I caught it. I caught it with my smart eyes, because I'm a smart boy.
In order to cooperate Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat.
What?
Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend.
Huh? Me?
When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be?
Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this off in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. Do you tell the court now, fella? Oh, this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zieks.
Well, Counsel, do you have something to say on this matter?
Well, we are idealistic. We are idealistic about the law and about the truth. And so, we're gonna have to tell the truth. How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat? It wasn't empty. I really don't know if giving the answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes.
Are you sure, Counsel?
Ada, be whist. What are you saying now, you daft doe? I thought you were on my side here.
What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position?
As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm not still entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible.
Interesting.
'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interest here, pal. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable, nor the court must consider the facts. That there is a copyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? What? Why do I feel like something's not right here? 'Cause he just threatened you!
Oh, I should like the jury to weigh into this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to have equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Gilrose state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question, by a person that irresponsible. That money-lending fleaser in the pick purrs a lion.
I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinky rich always stinkies. Nothing but cowards, a lot of them.
I like him. What? Oh, no.
It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
You were just taken in by your emotions, lady.
Yeah, but every time a different truth, it seems.
My lord, I humbly accept the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please.
Yes, my lord. The whole balance of the trial shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem.
Right. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. Press!
So, you were already on the omnibus before it even set off on its run? Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point of spending a joey to make a few bob, eh? That's the rum idea, isn't it?
I suppose she means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants.
Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And 1 little scapegrace writing for free. That can't go for driver. Always go for some grub before his last run, say? So that's why I slip into the carriage and get myself eaten under the seat. Nice and easy, right?
But your hiding place is a storage compartment, full of equipment for the coach, no?
Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there. Sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one else used to bother much.
And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived on the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia.
Well, I didn't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. It's all I can tell you.
As soon as we reach the end of that line of inquiry, continue. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for my troubles that night. Let's hear about that.
A waste of time. Why is that? Well, most nights I'm on my own in the gut, but...
I'm on my own and the God permit me at least some of the time. Huh? In the God permit... I'm not sure I understand that, but...
Well, most nights I'm on the own in the gut permit some of the time.
I beg your pardon, did you say... Oh, it's rhyming slang, isn't it? Did you say God permit?
Oh, yeah, well, it's what I can't call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose.
Right, so... Oh, God, what the hell would be the rhyming slang for that, then? So, okay, Cockney rhyming slang. Oh, God, I can't believe I'm trying to explain this. But basically, it's a type of it's a type of slang where words are substituted for things that rhyme with phrases. So, the classic example would be apples and pears being stairs. And so what you do with Cockney rhyming slang, you find a phrase that rhymes with the word you want to say. So you want to say stairs, so we do apples and pears, and then you remove like the half that rhymes, and then you say apples. So when you're going up the stairs in Cockney rhyming slang, you might say, I'm going up the apples. And it's partly a language that was created by a criminalized underclass
to sort of like to have their own private communication methods that like upper classes and especially policemen wouldn't be able to easily decipher because it's based on this social lingo that you kind of have to be part of the in-group to understand because like they teach each other like the rhyming slang that they used so people who were of that particular underclass would know what the rhymes were, but people from outside there wouldn't. Certainly, at least that's how I've been taught about Cockney rhyming slang.
Porters, any normal run, the carriage ain't got now when you're not in it for a while.
And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away?
That's it, only that right. Hey, this cobble coat was sat on me seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events were unfolded in the closed cabin?
Yeah, right, mister.
To be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all?
Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with my head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's who I'm going to fiddle.
Right, a butcher's... is it butcher's shop? Gawk? I don't know. Again, butcher's is also... That's a Cockney rhyming slang thing. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher.
I mean, I can have a look. A seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, say. So most of the time the passengers plate themselves opposite. For some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head.
The seat isn't as comfortable, you say. But didn't McGill say just a moment ago that he prefers the back seat because that's the most comfortable? Or am I misremembering? And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out. I see.
Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. Well, it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's an option's choice.
Options again. Hobsons being again, I think it's a rhyming slang. Why doesn't he just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. Oh, really? You think she's being hostile?
So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it.
Then after a while, I hear this loud bang, nearly jumped out of my skin, and the scream just came out. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor?
Could have been, suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump.
And you let out a scream involuntarily?
That's right. And then I felt the cushion over me head. It had lied all of a sudden.
Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes. Or not. It could equally have been the moment when the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not? Well, girl, did you see what happened at the crucial moment?
Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke what was falling on the floor on the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGilda's account, of course. But then the fellow suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I never should have risked looking.
It's because of that this swell found me. He did get me help me get away, mind. And when Mr. McGilda discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place?
I was scared stiff, I was. He dragged me up and set me down in the seat and all.
Next to the victim, Mr. Mason?
Yeah, the bloke got a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit, and he ended up falling onto me. How awful. Both me hands got covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog.
So that's where the two blood-covered hands came from. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilda for a while, is that correct?
He asked me some stuff. wanted to know my name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed.
Yes, was the force of the roof deck, one would presume.
Well, I didn't want no one to see my face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back onto the site. I'll see that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent.
For one brief shining moment, yes.
It's clear that they're all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testament, I'm sure we could get the verdict that we want.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't put my finger on it. Well, let's find out. Let me just see here. Like, there's that fresh blood stain on the floor, right? From where the victim fell, supposedly. But that seems really new all of a sudden. And since we know the evidence has been tampered with... But nothing else to see. Yeah, I don't know. You can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. I mean, it's not like... It's not like we have any evidence to suggest that she could see. So... Hang on. Wait. Give me a sec. If you're in the comments screaming at me about the obvious solution, you're justified. Sometimes I'm dense. Yeah, empty storage compartments, being as it was. Like, 'cause it feels like there's some evidence that we haven't got yet. That theoretically should give us a line to pursue. Well, Why did none of the other passengers hear the scream? I mean, it's the best I got. I don't think this is gonna work, but... Yeah, no, it doesn't. Well, I believe I've pressed everything, so... Just press things again. Maybe I forgot something.
Hold it. Well, no.
Well, that's new. Why wasn't he saying anything before? Well, that's annoying. Okay, well, I guess we found it.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilda? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no, 'twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lasses all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see. Yeah, I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye, and I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well, he says, looking at her meaningfully.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose it does, maybe.
Miss Lestrade? Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps?
Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring.
Which-ever, there's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp.
What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a new vital clue.
Yeah.
What should we make of that last statement of hers?
Well, we need something, so.
My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important.
Profoundly important, but all she said was that she heard nothing.
Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it.
Well, I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Counsel. Stop it with the racism. But nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. It won't work on me.
That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move.
I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but he was snoring.
Hold it!
Well, now. So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time? Since the moment you hit yourself?
Well, not exactly, no.
Sorry?
Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what's what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, I got my head down so he didn't notice me.
And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct?
Yeah, what you want, Adam? And would you Adam and Eve it?
Adam and Eve it, believe it. I think that's the rhyme there.
What a mug! So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of here as soon as I heard him leave, see? But what he? Not likely. Even though we stopped there and in there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market, snoring like an old dog he was.
Huh. Are there any conclusion we can draw from that, I wonder? It doesn't add up.
Miss Lestrade, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts.
Oh. At odds? Are you sure, man?
Absolutely.
It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared.
So, then Seeks realized it too.
Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claims with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least.
Yes, my lord.
I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court.
According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring. But think, Renoski, think. There's something else she would have heard.
Yes, she would have heard the victim getting on.
Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate on a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear in the night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person.
Take that!
Thrice fired, Mason?
Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus.
Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, Counsel.
Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person to board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded?
That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight.
So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time?
Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack on the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And, from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? Waiting for this swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Ah. We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Oh.
Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed.
Lord Van Six.
Yes, he knew. He knew all too well there was inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement.
It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend.
What are you talking about?
You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more.
He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever.
This girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. Uh-oh.
Ah! But the point of this, of course, is to, like, ratchet up the tension. So, and that's part of the narrative of every Ace Attorney game, is that trials get, like, worse and worse and worse and worse for the defense and the defendant. Over and over and over again, things just keep seeming to get worse, and the point is that you push through, that you hold on to the truth, and that you pursue it to the end, no matter like what inconvenient twists and turns it may take. No matter if it's like more, if you save face by not pursuing it any further. Like that's kind of part of the point, is to have that courage to pursue the truth to its end. But yeah, she didn't even say anything.
I didn't want to judge the dear little mite because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars.
Neither can I.
Mr. Foreman?
I didn't want to judge the girl just because she's come some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Uh-oh.
Mr. Raholo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty.
Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing.
Gah! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Amadan?
This is carnage, it's perfect.
Juror number 2 is the only one left.
Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going,
I know. If we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilded's innocence, the judge will rule and we'll have lost.
I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen. But those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yeah, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case.
What are you saying?
Counsel?
Sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean?
Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my education. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage? If these petty thieves' words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus?
There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. It's another entrance. That would be the skylight. I think that's why there's been so much attention drawn to it. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way.
Objection!
I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other has only windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection.
But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered.
Oh, really?
Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin.
All right, counsel. The defense will identify the new location for the court. Here is the omnibus in which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin?
Why, right here, of course. There's a latch on the inside of the window. The answer's obvious. It can only have been the skylight.
I say, the skylight?
Objection.
Your ludicrous proposal always almost have me lost for words. However,
Objection.
The skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection.
so you claim, but do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brain theory?
Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor.
Yes, which has already been explained, as the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with the dagger.
Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses describe? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact.
Good gracious.
Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection.
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible.
How can you be so sure?
Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony.
Well, yeah, that's true, but might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellas who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that is not so much of a case of them not saying. Aye. 'Tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would you say you not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Hey!
My goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof?
You know, the ones you stuck the knife in the man with.
Oh!
Josh, what you insinuating here, you blitherer?
You rotter, he said. You rotter. What are you insinuating? I love his little Donald Duck.
Hey, she's a flaming outrage. I've got a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute.
He'll give you a shine in a minute, he said. And so will I. Oh my god, look at that. I love the animation in these games so much. This little Popeye stance he got. Oh, that's brilliant. Mr. Fairplay.
Who effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and a well-respected banker?
And me, a very angry hatter.
Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. Wait, It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms.
Times?
That's right. I protest too. About you, you rotten scoundrel.
And he just seems to be having a grand old time.
Order! Order! Order!
This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once.
But this is beyond reason, my lord. I mean, it's outrageous.
It's very hurtful, you know.
My lord, if I may comment. Go ahead, Lord Van Zix. It was the defense that incited these outbursts from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof.
Accuse? I never intended to...
It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You proposed to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation.
I know it was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought.
Yeah, because like there's a latch right there from which the window could have been opened and the body dropped in. But is there anything... And then on the inside, there's nothing, right? Like, there's nothing that can be used to... Yeah, it can't be opened from the inside. Okay. Good to know.
You can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get him to testify!
I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. We have to see this matter thrown out, one way or another.
There's filth and rubbish in our midst. We must dispose of it at once. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo?
The spectators in the public gallery they're in a complete frenzy. Mr. Fairplay, Mr. Forst?
My lord.
You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense.
Yes, my lord.
I didn't come here for this.
There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. Yeah, a trial probably shouldn't be run on, like, the shouting of the people in the gallery.
We were the only two people up on that roof deck, dead or alive, I can swear to that.
If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed?
In any case, neither of us knew the first thing about the victim. We'd no reason to kill the man.
The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it.
If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof?
The frickin' mustache man. I must say that on listening to this testimony, it's somewhat hard to imagine how either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith.
That's right, I see.
We're innocent, I tell you.
Though logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two were in collusion with one another.
What?
Huh?
According to investigations by Scotland Yard,
The two witnesses share no common dealings.
Well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich.
Based? Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy?
Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. We press. So, at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck?
Absolutely not, Dickin.
No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here.
Is this true, Mr. McGilder?
Dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately.
There's an outright lie. No, without doubt you were engaged in...
Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? It's all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You're too well to remember that.
Well, I saw you with my own eyes.
This is going so well.
If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one of others would have noticed?
Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark. Perhaps too dark to see clearly?
Is this some kind of a lock?
Is this some kind of a joke, he said? Is that what this is?
Or perhaps one or other of you fell asleep briefly?
Oh, you fair dinkum, sir.
Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I'll tell you.
I like this double act.
I'll give you the keys to the vault if you can fall asleep with that bit of cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again.
That's extreme.
It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked.
Oh, I'm dreadful sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all.
That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone.
No, 'twas a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. It's hardly surprising.
Saying things.
I believe we've reached an impasse here at this particular point.
Oh, you.
Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then it's totally fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about.
No, it's not. No, it extremely isn't.
This isn't a competition I should like to be involved in, really.
It's not what capitalism is about. Capitalism is about ensuring that you have as little competition as physically possible. This would be the point where presumably the case will proceed.
So, you'd never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before?
Oh, lum, no. Not once, never.
He'd never met the man before, he said. Never.
And you, Mr. Forrest? You had no prior dealings with the victim either?
That's right, sir. I just don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir.
Oh, I imagine not.
You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin.
Oh, do you not?
Excuse me.
Mr. McGilded?
Oh, yes, counsel. What can I be doing you for?
Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow? Chaotic Irishman, that guy. Not the remotest connection. Is that right now? I wonder.
Why insinuating now?
Ah, Mr. Fairplay. 'Twas been so long, so it has.
Hey?
If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date?
I beg your pardon.
Oh, you borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir.
An unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion.
Well, now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off on an author.
Yeah, no, but
And young Mr. First. Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about on your head, is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand? I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, just a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch. Customers? So just a thrice-fired mason. Oh, there was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence for my lord.
this, you mean?
I was wondering about whether the hat was going to come into it. I can't help thinking that the poor hats fella looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh! That's one of my hats. Aye, that it is. So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. The sort of customer, I wager, you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh, no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. Were you a prosecutor in your previous life, Mr. McGilded? I rest my case.
Yeah, little weasel.
He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilded has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Oh, please, don't let little me interrupt the... My little interruption hold up the Hat Hunter awarded. Oh, okay. Hold up the proceedings. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it.
Could you not?
Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time?
I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute.
He's going to lose his rack with you in a minute. That's what he said.
Take a look for yourself. Go on.
There's a latch right there.
You see? It's shut fast now, just like it was on the night.
So it is, of course. The fella the size of Mr. Mason could likely break through it. Still and all.
What?
Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand.
Well, now you hold on a minute this here. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture, shall we?
Let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, when I broke wind loudly. I shocked myself with the way this happens.
A fart joke? Really? This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First.
Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see? But, just by luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as a rouge, I did. Rouge, I did.
Oh, shit, I didn't get the... Are you expecting me to sentence you?
Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside the cabin of shame.
Can it not now? I'm seeing the goddamn latch, so...
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade! It opens. Huh? Skylight. That's what we're talking about, right? All them skylights open, dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon? It's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, I... You can't do it from inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drakes. And I had a great I had purses coming up my ears.
Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities.
Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last block's post, he got wise to me.
All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and lick it. So what I did was I used the skylight, open the catch and just jump right through.
What?
Yeah, the catch from the skylight's just on the top side. That's why you can't open from the cabin.
The skylight opened from the roof? I already knew this. This is the thing that's sometimes annoying about the ways that Ace Attorney games are structured, is that even if you realize something, even if you see something in examining the evidence, oftentimes your character needs to be led to that particular deduction or observation by others. And that can be kind of frustrating when it's like, no, but the latch is right there. I see it. I already know. Just let me present. Go, fuck, get out of the way, Ryunosuke. I'm going to tell him. The skylight opens from the roof deck? Bailiff? Climb onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify this witness's claims. And click. There you go. Mud!
Oh, my hat! Say?
Order! 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 Well, it appears this street girl's statement is quite true. I don't believe it. The skylight opens? And from the roof deck? I do, because I saw it.
Mr. Naruhodo, this could be the clue we're looking for.
Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps you should investigate for myself. Yeah, now that we're allowed to. So the skylight was fastened shut before.
But now the catch has been undone, we should be able to open it.
And then, I wager, we go inside the cabin. And have a little look up. Oh, what do I spot on this side of the skylight? I spot un petit peu de sang. Or sang? Blood, anyway.
Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly. Mr. Naruhodo.
Why someone like me?
Ah,
What is it?
look, just here. Look at this.
That's without question.
It's blood.
Why would there be a blood stain here?
Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it?
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, because you can't see the blood. Oh, wait, no, you can. You can see the blood stain from here. But you can't select it, because the bench gets in the way, I guess. Really? Yeah, okay. Oh, shit, no, I meant to press that. Huh, proof. That's right, I meant to hear it.
We came here to say what we saw, I tell you. Not for this.
But you call us best choices, brand us criminals.
You call us liars. That's what he means. You accuse us of doing it.
As it stands at the moment. No? There's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves now, is there? I believe we're in for much the same position as one another here. Oh? Good. If I don't crack this case soon, he'll crack his teeth. Yes, we need to find a conclusive piece of evidence. I know. I usually skip past the little ending ones, because like sometimes they include hints, but mostly they're just like sort of little loops that are supposed to get you back into re-examining all the evidence. Okay. So where do I present this? Because, like, either we need to present on number 4 that the skylight was shut the entire time, we couldn't have opened it. Well, yes, you could. We've just proven that. Or else we need to present on the victim fell through the skylight. And presumably the bloodstain would be the one for that.
Objection.
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach. And immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts. And the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom.
What? That's all the humbug. You can't possibly have any evidence.
No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you. It's impossible.
Irrefutable proof here in this courtroom.
Counsel? My lord? I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here. Where exactly within the omnibus is this evidence to which you allude?
Well,
You will point out what it is that proves the victim fell from the roof deck through the skylight.
well,
Bloodstain?
Got it.
But by Jupiter, who's that? Blood?
What?
This bloodstain proves 2 things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open.
What?
And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Am I? And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime.
No! Order! Order! Order!
Hold it.
But the blood gets sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin.
It only found its way to that one particular spot on the skylight. Sure, and that would be very convenient. And let's keep in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the rooftop deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I?
But, there's no way to know for certain, is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean.
Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the 2 seats, Mr. First? Just all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fella dropped from a fair height right there, so it is. Yeah, but that wasn't there the first time we checked the frickin' cabin.
But it can't be. It's all lies.
Hold it.
My fella, do you remembers? I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we?
I believe we can. Yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom.
So, they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they?
I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it.
Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing.
On 3 then, everyone. 1, 2.
Objection.
Nope. 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 A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lupin Seeks? Ah, shit, fuck.
A blood stain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void.
What? Why?
For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection.
What? What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it's clearly blood.
Objection.
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine tooth comb. so I can state with absolute surety no such smear of blood existed in the carriage. At least, not until this trial began. And I'm pretty sure the bloodstain on the floor is a similar story. But... Well, are you suggesting, Lord Van Six, that the stain of blood was fabricated, my lord? Yes. And while this court has been in session... What?! What a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning from the prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Six. But our Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper or the Bailey. Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoid getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that the case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. So that's why he came back. McGilded is a little bit of a scoundrel, is he? A bastard, a piece of shit, actually. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. Tut tut, Lord Van Six. This will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel? But no. I think it's fair to say, this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The plot on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But, if yours will all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? Well, when the smoke bomb went off. Isn't that right now, counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time that court has been in session. My learned friend, here's to hearing your opinion on this matter in your own words. As you wish. Did someone have tampered with the omnibus during this trial? If you're asking me, I think it could have been possible. Because the smoke bomb. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There's no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there's one possibility. Oh, good gracious. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit. Deceit? I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take. As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. He signaled her. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus.
Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten feckless gouger?
Feckless gouger?
You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as, to start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Well, fortunately, Law Offense 6, no one is able to corroborate your claims.
That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut.
Well, we checked. We looked. Anyway,
Accordingly, I'm afraid to say, we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things.
Well, what do you think?
sorry?
About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus?
Yeah. My lord?
Yes, counsel?
There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial.
What?
What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare betray me, you little maggot, you better start watching your back.
Objection!
Silence, Mr. McGilded. The court awaits the defense's clarification.
This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here?
I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. Where exactly is this alleged mark that you claim appeared at some point during the trial?
I thought it was a little weird that a giant bloodstain on the floor was like, wait, was that there before? I would have noticed, surely. If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom.
Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel. Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue.
I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine, or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake.
This trial is over.
Mr. McGilded?
I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but 'tis all over now.
But you're the defendant.
'Tis over, I tell you! Memory, recollection, what people think they saw. 'Tis all a nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there. Now!
Well,
And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am.
I'd thought better of Lord Van Six. Well, my lord, I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence. And in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship can't be serious. Lord Van Six, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I'm of course obliged to confirm with the defense first.
What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty.
Yeah.
Which would mean we've won.
Is that
Really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now? With all these unexplained inconsistencies?
counsel for the defense? Your closing statement, please.
Yes, my lord. The defense believes all this fabricated evidence. Like, if he just hadn't fucking done that, you know? I'm here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment in time, I cannot in all good conscience attest fully to the defendant's innocence.
What are you saying, man?
Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there's also no conclusive evidence to prove that he's innocent.
Yeah, well, I mean, but in the case of that, in a court of law, if the government can't prove conclusively beyond reasonable doubt that you did it, then they can't sentence you. Like that. Just want to point out that's the way by which a just legal system operates. Is like the government better have their fucking facts in order, otherwise they cannot deprive you of your freedom or kill you, which is what's going to happen to Mr. McGilded if he's found guilty. Like, yeah, capitalist shitbag. I don't have a lot of sympathy for him, but like, if a man is facing death, like the death penalty by the government, then like he has like a reasonable moral right to defend himself by whatever means necessary to not die. Like, Jesus. But then, like, I also believe that the death penalty is fundamentally immoral as a concept. So, you know, that's just me. My bias is showing. Good gracious me. Order! Order!
This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. The defense lawyer calling the accused innocence into question. Are you a sound mind? Oh, it was a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision. What? I must say, I didn't expect quite such an exciting spectacle here at the end there, but still, here, have this for your troubles. Oi. Your job here is done, fella, and some fine work you've done, so you have. What do you mean? Just as the right honourable gentleman so succinctly put it afar. The trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how did you put it now, nothing more than a formality.
I really don't know what to make of all of this. What's the evidence we've seen genuine? What's it fake?
His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said.
A stinking wretch always guilty of something, yet you mark my words.
I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely park.
Now the proceedings have unfolded in this way. I'm compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. I thank you kindly, my lord. I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth.
Lord Wessex, my lord, the case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place. My sincerest apologies, my lord.
But wait. When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Seeks ordered the evidence to be secured.
I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter.
That's so unfair.
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment.
What?
Well, Lord Van Seeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
Do you mean to tell me that this has all been a grand waste of time?
'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law.
Magnus McGilded.
Oh, good grief, you've more to say to me, have you?
Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over.
Well, something to be looking forward to, then.
I hereby pronounce the defendant, Magnus McGilded. We don't necessarily know that he did it or anything. But we do know that his innocence could not be properly established here. My.
What a twist! I can't believe it. Well, she's an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent.
Greatest legal system in the world, huh?
With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. And my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty, ostensibly a victory for us. "18th February, 5:14 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber.
That certainly was a long trial.
Ah, yeah, it was.
Your first ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations.
And to you, Mr. Sato. Thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened.
Well, we didn't have enough time.
But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that.
The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection.
Aye, that you did. Mr. McGilded? Ah, and that girl is with him too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks that do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen him now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they light off fireworks inside of a building? That's a fire hazard.
Yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I've you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything.
What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man, then?
I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning.
You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. Oh, 'tis water under the bridge.
Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared.
But nothing's resolved.
There's only one thing that matters to me.
Oh?
Aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not?
I suppose it is.
Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters into the hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay.
It's not that funny.
So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella.
Oh, no. I couldn't possibly accept that much.
Oh, Robbie West, you're a humble people, are you, from the east? Well, if you insist. But have this, still and all. You deserve a reward.
Mr. Magnus McGilded? Yeah, everything's ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom.
Into the courtroom?
What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe.
I do hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule.
Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection.
Sorry, what inspection?
But you're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself.
They're going to examine it again? Now?
Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help wherever I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain.
And there he goes. A free man. Oh, I forgot she was here too.
Don't move!
Whereas I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down?
You're grown up.
Sorry?
No, I ain't all grown-ups.
Ah, I think I know who that is. There you are. Oh no, I don't know who that is. Who the fuck is that?
Naughty, naughty, running off like that.
Is this some kind of picnic? Who's the little girl now?
And taking that with you as well.
No, let's give her a proper sort of upper class.
And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launch. Ah. Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me.
Excuse me, but who are you?
Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
The inventor?
Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, 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 and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty collar, I thought to myself.
Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all?
I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing to a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon.
What's what? I have no idea what this girl is talking about.
Anyway, you're coming with me now, back to my laboratory.
What?
What for? To apologize, of course, silly, to my technician. What do you mean? Say sorry. You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? Oh, I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me. Fine, have it your way. Oh, good. You see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end.
I'm fairly sure that what she wants is not to get shot by that massive gun of yours.
Well, I'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss.
She was a lively one.
Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too?
Yes, you're right, but where to?
Oh,
We haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff.
oh, I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings.
But at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck.
Don't worry though, I have a plan. If the worst come to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night.
Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park.
I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through.
I am not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person's solid just as easily as an elderly one.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable.
Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room. Or a mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over.
What's going on?
Get the fire brigade!
Water! Bring water, quick! What? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating.
Oh, fuck me.
No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
This can't be.
What a twist! Fucking banger! Yeah! That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a twist and a half. No resolution. Okay, but like case 2 ended in a just profoundly unsatisfying way, right? Like where it's like there's no villain, there's no bad guy, no one can be punished, like there's no justice or anything. It's just a miserable, horrible, awful accident. And then this case, it's like, yeah, we don't know who did it. Like, we can't prove jack shit. Because some motherfucker with money has been tampering with the evidence, and now the evidence set on fire. This is fucking compelling, man. I can't wait to play more of this. But if you want to see more of this, you're going to have to hit the like, comment, and or subscribe buttons down below. Preferably all 3 of them, but you know, 1 or 2 of them will probably do, and YouTube will tell you when the next episode comes out. If you want to watch more of it right now, I do, but I have to play it first. Then you can become a member of the channel, which will give you early access to episodes as I upload them rather than waiting for them to be published on their regular schedule. Damn. Anyway, outside of that, I have a Patreon, a merchandise store, and a tip jar also. If you want to use any of the monetization options, it helps me pay my rent and stuff, but you're absolutely not under any obligation to do so. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to wear a mask and wash your hands. Take whatever vaccine is necessary, and try to act with solidarity towards those who are working to make the world a better place.